And in a moment, those hands are going to touch. And when they do, your eyes will spring open and you'll have a big grin on your face because you're going to feel absolutely amazing. There we go.
How the fuck did you do that? I wasn't lying then. I wasn't either. You're magic.
It's a weird feeling.
Good job you didn't say your underpants are getting very loose. Hello, welcome to podcast 22. I'm joined. I need to stop saying I say all the time. I'm joined by Grant Saunders, comedy hypnotist, and he's going to be talking about hypnotism and the power of the mind. So hello, Grant.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me on.
Don't worry, we've got your chocolate. This was part of Grant's Friday. We've got chocolate biscuits. I've been to Sainsbury's expressly.
Pick and mix.
I also parked in the parent and child space to make people in Sainsbury's angry. How do you go become an hypnotist? I can't even say it.
Hypnotist.
How do you become an hypnotist?
An hypnotist is like a Wigan hypnotist. There's no H.
It's just me. I'm
hypnotist.
retarded. You know, it's just me. I've ruined the podcast. Anyway. How do you go about becoming an hypnotist?
It was a weird one for me. I toyed around with it when I was younger. My mum was into the psychotherapy and all that type of stuff. I wasn't into all that woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
You know, joss sticks and tarot cards and all that. That was not for me. But kind of picked up a lot of the stuff about it.
Yeah.
Went into doing therapy for a little bit. Again, wasn't my scene. Managed to get a couple of breaks, had a couple of businesses, did okay out of that. And when I came out of those businesses, went back into the hypnotherapy because I wanted to fix the world, you know, stop people smoking, losing weight, stress, anxiety. And after a few years of that, I realised that it was dead boring. I had a fear of public speaking and stage fright. And I thought the best way to get over that is to do a demonstration of hypnosis for a charity to raise some money. Got this pinstripe suit on and it was nabbed. National Association for Bikers with a Disability.
Okay.
Great charity. What they do is if you're a biker and you have an accident and you lose an arm or a leg, they'll adapt your bike so that you can still ride it. So I thought, right, I'll give them a free show that will get over my fear of public speaking and it's doing good. And I remember I walked into the venue and yeah, I'd missed the mark loads. I walked into this proper bikers pub.
Hell's Angels.
Hell's Angels, a lot, yeah. And I'm in a pinstripe suit, white shirt, white tie, like a fucking idiot. Do you know what I mean? I've walked in, I thought, oh, there's no way I can't do this now because they all know I must be the hypnotist.
Yeah.
Started the show, started doing the introduction thing, like shitting myself. And then at that point, I'm like, everybody stand up. Because the beginning of a hypnosis show is you're getting people to do stuff to get compliance out of them. So I'm like, everybody stand up where you are. And nobody's moving. I'm like, oh, they're just not connecting with me.
They're too cool and mean to stand up.
Exactly. Then realised that a lot of the audience were actually disabled.
Oh, fucking hell.
Exactly. So I'm like, oh, God, this is not going well. So like those that have come up, I've got these guys, I've got their arms out like this. And then one of them's like, you could see this was like a massive robotic prosthetic arm. And I'm like, oh, God. And at that point, I thought, this is not going well. But they went under. And at that point, I forgot all about the stage fight. I forgot all about the audience and loved it. And from that moment, I thought, there's no way I'm going back to hypnotising kind of, you know, fat old birds to lose weight. I want to get into that, making people do silly things.
I mean, you broke your duck there doing such a rough gig. You know, you've got it out of the way because my first gig was really good, but then your bad gigs have got to come then, and then when they do come, you know. But so how long did it take you to master hypnotism, and how different is it from the stuff you was doing to lose weight? And
it's fundamentally it's the same. Like hypnotherapy is you use hypnosis to change someone's behaviour. Weirdly, learning or developing the stage stuff gives me a better understanding of the therapy. A lot of hypnotherapists, and this is what bugs me, hypnotherapists don't like stage hypnotists. Because they go, oh yeah, people see this stuff and, you know, it's all this and you're clucking like a chicken and it makes it look like they've lost control. Whereas with therapy, it's about giving them control. And the reality is, a lot of people will come to my show and go, I tried hypnotherapy once to quit smoking, lose weight or one of those things, but I felt relaxed, but I don't know if I was hypnotised.
Yeah.
Whereas I like to give them an experience where they go, oh, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
One of the things we do in the show is we take away somebody's name, and then we pull out some fake money and go, right, for £1 million, what is your name?
Right.
And the person sits there and they're like, and they can't do it. Now they know what their name is, but they can't physically do it. And you can use that same concept in hypnotherapy. You can get that where they can't remember their name and put it to the part of their brain where they can forget to have cravings to eat chocolate, forget to be anxious in a certain situation. So the stage stuff really helps the therapy stuff.
Right.
But there's so many shit hypnotherapists out there that just talk about you're walking down through a meadow and
they have a pocket watch,
a little pocket watch and all that joss sticks in the corner, noises like whales are mating in the background.
All that kind
and the reality is most people sit there going, with their eyes closed, going, is this guy going to shut up or what? So yeah.
Can you, do you know when you're doing your show, can you, by using various psychological techniques, hypnotise an audience into enjoy? Or is that different?
That's the show.
I mean, like,
I know.
I don't mean like tell them. I mean, hypnotise them in the sense so if they're a rough crowd, you can calm them down or manipulate the minds. Or is that too? Is that?
Yeah. I mean, that's fundamentally that's what you've got to do. You'll know from working with some audiences that can be a bit rowdy.
Yeah.
You've got to take control from them. That's the important thing. I'll always make an example from someone from the front row.
Yeah.
If I go out on stage and somebody's sat there with their back towards me talking to their mate, I have to make an example of that person.
Yeah.
Because then everyone else goes, all right, shut up and do as you're told. You'll know from doing gigs.
Exactly.
You've got to do that. And that's what hypnosis is.
Right.
Hypnosis is you get a bit of compliance, a bit more compliance, a bit more compliance until they've got to the point where they're on stage clucking like a chicken thinking they're about to shit an egg out. That's hypnosis.
We've all been there, I suppose.
It's not weekend if you've not done that.
KFC especially.
Yeah.
But so on a mechanical level, how does hypnotism work on the brain? Like as deep as you want to go with this, how does the process of hypnotism work in your brain and stuff?
There's different theories of what hypnosis is. The best way I can describe it is rather than it being an on or an off thing, it's a constant.
Okay.
So we are always in a state of hypnosis. Do you drive a car?
Yes.
What car do you drive?
I shouldn't be saying I'm on benefits. It's a Jaguar V6.
Oh, it's a very nice car. Is that an automatic?
Yes.
Can you drive a manual?
Yes, sir.
Right. When you were first learning how to drive a car, you were doing it with your conscious mind.
I get where you're going with this. And
everything you're thinking about is too much. Now you can drive a car, and whilst you're driving that car, you can be thinking about the podcast. You can be thinking about 1,000,001 other things to do.
Arguing on Facebook.
Trying to write a text. That's not autocorrect. Because your unconscious mind takes care of the driving.
Is that how it is? Right.
Exactly. Now, if a kid was to run out in front of you, automatically you would put on the brakes, because if you had to think about how long that would take, it would take too long. Or there's a child, I need to apply the pressure in my right leg onto the brake, etc. So it becomes automatic. With hypnosis, it speeds up that process.
Right.
So you're talking to somebody, but you're talking to their unconscious mind. So then what becomes the silly suggestion becomes automatic. Yeah. As we're talking now, you're aware of lots of things going on around you, but you're not aware of your breathing.
No.
But now that I've said it, you are.
Yeah.
And it's about making things that are unconscious conscious.
It's fascinating, really. Isn't it? But do you know when in history, have you any idea when this technique was first used, hypnotism? Is it ancient?
Oh, yeah. It's taken many forms. Egyptians used to have sleep temples.
Okay.
So this was a temple where you would lie and sleep, and the priest would come in and give positive suggestions. That's where it originated from. But over the years, it's moved on. Anton Mesmer, who's a French hypnotist, who kind of coined the term. You've heard the term tree hugger?
Yes.
Mesmer discovered that if you held onto some magnetised rods, it was probably about 2 or 3 hours, you would be cured automatically of these hysteria and stress and all these weird ailments at the time. Mesmer became so popular that he magnetised trees And people would come from all over the country for this, and they would then join hands around the trees to get the magnetic animal force from nature, and that would then cure them. It was then a Scottish surgeon. This is a very kind of...
No, just, you go as deep as you want.
It was then a Scottish surgeon, James Braid, who discovered that like auto-suggestion, rather than saying it's the energy from the world that's creating these states, using words, you can then impact someone's unconscious. Now, James Braid coined the term hypnosis, meaning, I think it was Greek for sleep, even though there's no sleep involved. But that was then used as an anaesthetic. So James Braid was a Scottish surgeon that before ether and anaesthetic used suggestion and words as pain relief so people could have deep tissue operations.
Right. Were there any use of
This is before anaesthetic.
So what period in history we're talking? Relatively recent?
Within the last couple of 100 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And what stopped that was because ether came along. Now, ether, it guaranteed to work every single time.
Yeah.
Make someone sniff that for a couple of seconds, they're out, you can do the operation, everything's fine. The healing time afterwards, if you've used hypnosis as the anaesthetic, the healing time was much quicker because you've not got the toxins in the body.
Yeah.
But yeah, hypnosis was predominantly an anaesthetic before it was a make somebody cluck like a chicken on stage.
So it was actually used in procedures in hospital and operations?
Was and still is on some occasions.
Still is
as
now,
well. Yeah.
in certain
Absolutely,
operations.
yeah. There's certain operations on the brain. I know a guy, I know of a guy who had an operation on his hand quite recently, and again, just using hypnosis as the anaesthetic for that.
I mean, you talk about the trees and vibrations, but words vibrate, don't they? I mean, it's everything is vibration.
There's things going on that we're not aware of on an unconscious level. And as a hypnotist, it's my job to communicate with you on that level.
Yeah.
So your conscious mind is a part of your mind that's listening to everything we're talking about now. And if I said jump up and down and bark like a dog, your conscious mind would hear it and go, I'm not going to do that. As a hypnotist, it's my job to bypass that part of your brain, that doorman that's protecting that, and go deeper than that.
Yeah. It's a blanked out then. Are you hypnotising me on the quiet?
Always hypnotising.
I'll be running around in my underpants with chocolate all over my face. Normal night, really. But fucking blanked out, really. He's doing something to me with frequencies. Do you think in society we're hypnotised by television and social media and our phones?
Absolutely. 100%.
That's the power of suggestion, and then you end up like, with a deck chair you don't want off Amazon or something but
we all experience those moments when you do buy something you didn't particularly want. You get caught up in the moment of it, and you got to imagine if adverts didn't affect you so much on an unconscious level, then why is it so expensive to advertise on TV? When you're catching people when they're sat at home and they're not aware of what they're doing, they're zoned into that television, which is exactly what hypnosis is. When I hypnotise somebody to do something silly, they're aware of everything that's going on around them. When you're hypnotised, you can hear everything. You're not unconscious. You can hear everything that's going on around you. However, you're focused on every single word that I say, and you're focused on that single idea. That's adverts on TV. That's why they catch you off guard. That's why they're funny adverts. Those that I can hear a song now, and I can, and it reminds me of the advert from when I was a child. That's what some real impact is. That
it's called programming, television,
Absolutely.
television programming. If you didn't know that, you'd be throw your television in the garden and just watch this channel or something. But
well, I mean, TV is there. It's designed to make you not feel good about your life. No matter what you've got and what you do, there's always someone on TV that's doing more, that looks better, that makes you kind of go, I feel bad about myself now. I have to buy something which will make me feel better.
Social media as well, Instagram, you see somebody stood by a Lamborghini by a pool and hi, this time last year I was a baby with it in a wheelchair. I'm
shocked at how many of those are out at the moment now, because we're in a time when people are, they are suffering with hardship right now. The amount of people that are coming out going, I earned £20,000 from just doing Amazon affiliates. And it's like,
There's some fellas in it. There's nothing more annoying, is there, than fucking YouTube adverts with these fucking cranks. There was one saying, like, I've earned I've earned 30 billion selling bubble wrap.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, good luck to you. But so you've been all over the world doing hypnotism. But you've been to talked about Las Vegas.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Vegas was great. I was at a conference there a couple of years ago, and it was awesome. It was at the same time there was a big stage hypnosis conference on. There was the SHOT Show, which is the biggest gun show in the world.
Okay.
And the Adult Video Stars Award ceremony. So literally, I've had to say to the missus, I'm going to Vegas next weekend. And at the same time, there's a big gun show on and there's a big porn show on as well. But trust me, I'm just going to stay at the conference. But that was awesome.
Fair play to you.
Oh, Vegas it's just nuts.
I've never actually been. I don't know if we can fly again without vaccines. I'd like to think we can, but you know, I would like to go and experience Las Vegas. You know, I've read the beat Huntress Thompson, Fear and Loathing Las Vegas. that was good. The power of the mind, right? Can you achieve anything? Are we not aware of how powerful our thoughts are?
With the power of the mind. I can't give you a talent that you've not already got. I couldn't hypnotise you and say you're the world's greatest pianist. You'd sit down. You might think you're good, but you'd play it.
Yeah, Les Dawson.
Les Dawson. Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
But with the power of the mind, you can help someone overcome certain barriers. So you can help someone learn quicker. You can help someone. Most of the barriers we have to everything in our life are our own limiting beliefs. That is literally our parents' voices telling us, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that, you should be grateful for what you've got.
Yeah.
They're the things we program ourselves with. And that's the problem. If you have an idea, if you think you can't do something, then you're not going to question it, you're not going to step outside of that. So,
I am terribly negative as a person, and whatever ideas I get, you know what I mean, I always kind of poo-poo them, for want of a better word, and it's frustrating. Like I said, from childhood, some of us are programmed. You're the best kid in the world. You're gonna go far, and you listen to that program, and then other people end up in shop doorways drinking special brew. Yeah. I'm not quite there yet, but you know, I can't afford a kind of special brew. Well, thank you very much for coming. That's not the end, by the way. We've got chocolate biscuits.
Yeah.
So tell me more about hypnotism. I'm blanking. I think Grant's affected my mind today.
Well, I mean, do you want me to show you something?
I'll try and be hypnotised, but don't make me put me.
I'm not going to hypnotise.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to hypnotise you into a. You know.
So I've got pants on.
You've got pants on, yeah. Which is your strongest hand?
That's it. I'm ambidextrous. I'd have to say, you know, this is an hard question for me. Let's try this.
Which hand do you write with?
Right with. You said right.
Yeah.
This one. Okay.
I'll tell you what, just put them out like this. Perfect. All you do, just close your eyes, because we're going to use your imagination. And all you want to do with your imagination, just imagine in the palms of those hands is a powerful magnet. And you remember when you were a child, you used to play with magnets, and those hands will just draw in towards each other, all by themselves. And in a moment, those hands are going to get closer and closer. And in a moment they will touch. But here's the weird thing, before they do, I'm going to click over this side, and when I do, I want you to imagine there's a ball of energy pushing those magnets away, as if the magnets have been reversed or polarised, and you start to feel that energy pushing them further and further away. And as that energy gets stronger and stronger, it starts to take on the energy of your body as well. And it's like it moves up your spine and your shoulders, down past your elbows, your wrists, each finger and the thumb, and it really starts to build that ball of energy up. And the more it starts to build up, the greater the energy it starts to force out. And as it starts to really force that energy out, you start to feel that energy moving into your fingers, into your hands, your wrists, your elbows and your shoulders. And here's the weird thing, as that energy starts to build up, you start to feel as if those hands are being raised up towards the sky, as if they're being pulled up by large helium balloons. As if you can feel those helium balloons, red, blue, green, yellow, big, orange balloons, start to feel them raising up higher and higher towards the sky. And notice how this feels inside right now. Now the weird thing is those balloons get higher and higher and higher. You feel the energy. And when I click with my fingers on this side again, those magnets start to draw those fingers in together. Start to draw those hands in, and as it does, it starts to push that energy right into your hands. The palms of your hands, the wrists, the elbows. And with each easy breath you exhale, you start to notice that the sound of my voice helps you feel relaxed. And in a moment, those hands are going to touch. And when they do, your eyes will spring open and you'll have a big grin on your face because you're going to feel absolutely amazing. There we go.
How the fuck did you do that? I wasn't lying then. I wasn't either. You're magic.
It's a weird feeling.
Good job you didn't say your underpants are getting very loose. That's weird. I can feel.
Which, you say your left hand was the strongest hand?
Yeah, I think.
Press that into the table there. Press that down, press it down, press it down. All you do is just use your imagination, but look at me and not the hand.
So I'm just pressing it down with the power of my mind?
Just press it down. I'd use your arm to press it down, that's better. But then look at me, and whilst you're looking at me, I want you to focus on the sound of my voice. And imagine what it would feel like as if that table had been covered with the world's strongest superglue. Now, I don't know if you know about the power of your mind, but you can focus on the sound of my voice. And in a moment, I'm going to touch the top of your hand, and when I do, it starts to push down even heavier onto that hand. And the heavier it pushes down on that hand, the stranger it's going to feel inside. Now, I'm going to count from 1 to 3, and on the count of 3, I'm going to ask you to try and lift that hand up. But when you try and lift that hand up from out of that table, you're going to realise that it's stuck glued, welded to there. Not yet, but on the count of 3, you're going to try and lift that hand up. And when you try and lift that hand up, you'll find it is locked, glued, welded into place. So much so that the more you try and lift it, the tighter and stickier it will become to that table. Now, this will not feel strange or unusual. It will make you feel good inside, knowing that you have a powerful mind. As I go 1, 2, 3, try and lift that hand, try and find the more it sticks. Try and find the more it sticks.
I've not done it.
All right. Try and find the more it sticks. As you focus on that hand, take a big deep breath in, close your eyes down, and with your eyes closed, I want you to just really close those eyes right now. With those eyes closed, I want you to imagine all the stress and tension leaving your body right now, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Drifting, floating, dreaming, all the way down. Now, as that hand drifts down even further into the table, I want you to notice how the right hand feels as it touches your leg. And as that right hand touches the top of your leg right now, and this left hand sticks down to the table, I want you to notice how it feels inside. From the top of your head to the tips of your toes, imagine what it would feel like right now if all that tension, all that energy came out through your body, starts to relax those shoulders. And there it goes, the tension melts away, it moves down the arms, past the elbow, and into that wood. As it moves into that wood, notice how it feels inside now. Notice how that hand becomes part of the top of the table, and your energy drains away. And all that negativity you talked about earlier, imagine seeing that moving into the table as it becomes part of the wood, part of the nature of that wood in that hand now. As you do that, notice how it feels, as it's almost like a bath being emptied. The plug's been pulled out and the water's starting to drift down. And as it does, you become aware of how heavy your head feels. Almost like a bowling ball on the top of a pin. And you start to feel that coolness moving down from the shoulders into your lower back, your thighs, your knees, your feet. And you start to feel it drifting down even further. The further that goes down, the heavier and more tired this arm becomes. The more heavy and tired that becomes, the more your eyes start to lock down. The more you start to feel good in every way, shape and form. Now, I'm not going to hypnotize your mind right now, but I want you to notice how it feels as you take control of your mind, and notice how it feels as you there we go, let go of that tension. Now, in a moment, I'm going to count from 3 down to 1. On the count of 1, you can open your eyes and feel fantastic. And here's the weird thing. On the count of 1, when you open your eyes, you'll feel that whole arm will just feel tingly and light. And for the rest of this interview, it will constantly just want to drift up by itself. And when you notice it doing that, it will just make you smile and you'll push it back down again. But this arm will start to feel light and it will raise up. And this is because this arm has become filled with a positive, light, bright, orange energy. Now, tonight when you go to bed, you're going to have the best night's sleep you've had in years. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning with a new spring in your step, a new optimism to life. You're going to find that anytime you see the colour purple it will make you smile. You won't know why, it just does. Because even though you think you used to have a negative mind, you have a very powerful mind. And those things and those negativities from the past only help you achieve your goals. It helps you push further into your dreams. I'm going to count from 3 down to 1. On the count of 1, you'll open your eyes, enjoying this wonderful experience. And in your mind, this can go quickly or fast or only as quickly as you need it to do. And if not you, who? 3, 2. Notice how that feels right now. 1.
You're fucking good, you aren't you? No, I did my hands go like. Is that just your instruction?
Well, it's.
I do feel weird now. Like.
Well, I mean, you know, those watching might see you've got a glaze
It's not
on
the
your
chocolate.
eyes
It's
now.
not the chocolate.
It's
biscuits.
the whiskey we put in there, and it's weird because even the suggestion of the hand coming up. I mean, I always do a couple of tests to find out. Different people have different. They format information in different ways.
Okay.
Some people are very visual. You're a visual person.
Yeah.
Some people are kinesthetic, which means they're about feeling. So that's what those 2 tests are there for, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
So you make good pictures in your mind. You have a good imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I ask you to visualize something. Your body responds as if it is true.
That's weird, that, because it's like I wasn't moving my hands, but I could bloody. They were going together.
Well, that's how Ouija boards work.
Yeah. Do you not believe that they are? Like, because I've heard so. We had spiritual people another week, and it's like Ouija boards are evil because Colin is not a believer in anything like that. Are you not?
I'm very much on this wavelength. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a friend of mine. We both went to a training on how you use psychology and suggestion in order to give the illusion of a psychic experience. My friend is a trained psychologist and skeptic and was having none of it. The person in question has done a Victorian glass moving. It's a Ouija board.
Yeah.
And we've watched it, and my friend has gone, I'm having none of that. That's a load of shit. He says, I'm gonna volunteer for the next one to prove it. So everyone's put their finger on the glass, and the bloke stood there and he's gone, spirits, if you are here, move the glass. And the glass starts to move. And everyone's moving it around. And I'm looking at him and he's looking at me as if to go, one of these is moving this glass. And he's gone, spirits, somebody at this table is happy to receive a message from you. Could you signify to the person by stopping the glass in front of the person? It spun round and it stopped in front of my friend. And he's gone, all right. He's gone, are you happy to receive a message from the other side? And he's like, yeah. So he's gone, spirits, I'll not say his name, such and such has said he's happy to receive a message, but can you let him know who you are? And it's spelled out, it's gone B-E-L-L, and he's just burst into tears. It's his great-grandma, who he always had this close relationship with. And afterwards, I mean, they've had a message and all that lot. Afterwards, he's come to me and he's gone, oh my God, he says, my life, I've always been so sceptical and so close-minded about this lot. I didn't realise that this was true. And I've gone, we're at a training where they show you how suggestion and suggestion and psychology can give that illusion. And he's going, yeah, but how did they know that? And it's like, but they didn't. You
Did.
You did. They never, in my opinion, they never give you a message of stuff that you didn't know.
Yeah.
They never go, the money's behind the fireplace on the left-hand side, but don't look at my internet connection.
They
never give you that message. They give you information back. I do believe, for me, a psychical connection is about the energy. One person can pick up an energy from another person and get ideas. I don't believe that we can contact the other side.
No. I feel tampered with now. I don't mean in a Jimmy Savile way, but I feel energetically like...
Oh no, we did the whole Jimmy Savile thing as well.
At least somebody was near me. You know? It's the only action I've had for a while. But, you know, how do you feel kind of different? And
It's like a daydream-like state.
Yeah. It's like, so do you think when people go about Ouija boards and things like that, and you think everything emanates from us. It's like, in the words of Bill Hicks, we are the imagination of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Everything comes from us.
Absolutely.
Because I got told last night off an astrologer, she contacted me and said, I had a dream about you last night, and I think you're under psychic attack. And I got thinking, because I fell over it road the other week, and I thought freakishly, I was thinking, and we was talking about Satanism and somebody exposing it, John Wedger. Hello, John, I don't know if you're watching this, and Lou Dickens. And they expose it, and I think, fucking hell, supposing that I have somebody's put a curse on me. But there you have it, I suppose.
Weirdly, if you believe that that's true, or that even the possibility of that is true, then it becomes true.
Yeah.
Because it plays with your imagination. One of the things with hypnosis is you'll often imply something and allow it to just absorb by itself.
Yeah.
And then the person will go, oh, what did you do? Because it made me feel this way. And you go, see, there you go.
Can they program people by certain, like, do you know, I don't know if this is similar. I've heard of MK Ultra, the mind programming and all. I'm not saying you know, but and that certain word suggestion and words would be a trigger. So if you said apple pie to somebody, you'd go out and shoot the Prime Minister or something.
With hypnosis, the general consensus is you cannot make anybody do anything that goes against their deeply held morals and values. So I could hypnotise you, you could be the best subject, you could go as deep as absolute possible. But then if I then told you to go out and murder somebody, unless you were already a soldier trained in that type of thing, then you probably would not do that. Because no matter how deep you go, your image of yourself wouldn't do that.
Right.
So when you give someone a suggestion, there's always a little bit of you that's still listening in for your protection. However, and I always say this, hypnosis, you can't make someone do anything that goes against their deeply held morals and values. Your deeply held morals and values are not the same as the ones that you pretend to the rest of the world. Yeah. They're things that are at your core. So I do believe that hypnosis can play a part in mind programming and changing someone's sense of self. Hypnosis and brainwashing are two different things, but they do share the same camp.
Yeah, like the same bedfellows kind of thing.
Exactly.
So there'll be somebody in your profession who could use it for... Because so the people in your profession, the odd wrong, and who could use it to like... You can actually abuse it, you know, and get...
Weirdly, every now and then, because hypnosis is what it is, it's the media love it. But every now and then this stuff comes out in the newspapers or on the news about, especially in America, some... big fat middle-aged hypnotist has used it to try and abuse young girls. And the problem is they know what's happened and then they go to the police for it. And I kind of think if it was that powerful, then no one would go to the police about it. So I think some people get misguided by what they're doing and then start to believe that they are almost godlike and then take it too far. Unfortunately, especially stage hypnosis, it's so easy to make a middle-aged man look bad trying to use hypnosis to get women, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And there's...
Can you show me a technique later on? But, sorry, I cut you off then.
But there's around the world now, there's a community called the PUA, which is the Pickup Artist Community.
Okay.
They use a lot of hypnotic language patterns.
Right.
Which is, again, used for,
most of my audience are like single over 40 males who are potential school shooters. So could you perhaps provide some dating? Some dating. Some dating. Is there any that Obi-Wan Kenobi, when he went up the Stormtroopers and said, "These are not the droids you're looking for.
These are not the children you were looking for."
Not again. I'm on a restraining order now. I'm not allowed to know any. But I can't believe it. When you did that, then I just felt so like different, like I said, in a dream state kind of thing. How long does it take you to learn how to do that?
To learn how to hypnotise somebody takes about... I can train someone to hypnotise someone in about an hour. Yeah. The reality is...
An hour?
Oh, hypnosis is simple. Hypnosis
is it not something like... You could have said lied and said it took 30 years in a Buddhist temple. And,
I'd love to. I'd love to say that. But it's the weird thing is not putting stage hypnosis or hypnotism and brain surgeons in the same camp. But for a brain surgeon to know where to cut in the brain, to cut in the brain is simple. To know where to cut and have the confidence to do that cut is what takes the time of the practice. And you can't. I get caught off guard all the time because not everyone goes into hypnosis the same way. I did a cruise ship a couple of years ago. Massively, brilliantly paying gig, like a brilliantly paying gig. They've flown me over to Germany, joined the ship in Germany, and then we've gone out into the Norwegian fjords, and they're paying me big money. So you've got to do a good show. Before me, I'm sat there in this theatre, they've got a Blue Man Group on, and it's like, oh my God. So I thought, I've made it, I'm happy with me, I've made it. I've gone out on stage the first night, and I'm like, oh, blah, 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 I've done my stuff. Volunteers come up. Every single one of them was a retired German. So literally, it's like, oh, sprechen Sie Deutsch? I'm like, no. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? No. And all of a sudden, I realise I'm in this massive theatre, being paid all this money, and no one can understand a word that I'm saying.
Words are your tools, and you couldn't. It's like
exactly, yeah. I was confident. I felt I was at the top of my game. I died a million deaths that night because it was just like.
So you do get nights where it doesn't work on. If you speak the same language as someone, would you say 9 times out of 10 you can get somebody to fall under the hypnosis?
I would say everybody can be hypnotised. I say everybody. There's probably about 5% of the population that can.
Are these the kind of people that no?
Oh yeah.
Can you get them? Can you really get them people to?
You can, but it's not entertaining to watch. When I do a show, you'll know as a performer.
Yeah.
I want to do a show. I want the audience to be entertained. It's not about my ego. And you'll get people who can't hypnotise me. All right, mate, you're absolutely correct. Leave and we'll get somebody that wants to.
Right, I get you.
If someone's had some brain trauma, then there's a good chance they can't be hypnotised. If they're, off the face on drugs, there's a good chance they can't be hypnotised. But if you can focus your mind, if you can concentrate, then you can be hypnotised.
Yeah. What can it be used for apart from weight loss and smoking? Could you use it for that confidence building? Or if you have a negative outlook on life, could that kind of help?
Yeah. It's the thing is, if you've got a lack of confidence, if you have a negative mindset, you're hypnotising yourself.
Right.
You've got a little hypnotist inside your head that when you say, I'm going to become a Centurion male stripper, that little voice inside your head says, yeah, I know. That little voice says, no, it's not going to happen.
Can we make that happen, please?
We could.
No, but seriously. So we kind of are putting ourselves under a spell
all the time.
All words have spells, don't they?
Absolutely.
We use the term for writing words in spelling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we use and write, which is a magical right.
Yeah.
Words are really powerful.
Absolutely.
We don't understand that, so it's interesting that we could just spend our whole lives saying, I can't do that, that's shit.
Exactly.
No, fuck that.
And we box ourselves in. Was it Roger Bannister that did the 4-minute mile?
Yeah.
Since the beginning of time, it was deemed that you could not run a mile in less than 4 minutes.
Yeah.
For centuries that happened. And then Roger Bannister did it. Was it within 2 years? Like 5 people had done it.
Yeah.
Because the limiting belief of what was possible had been changed. And every day we program ourselves via television, via social media, via looking at ourselves in the mirror and looking for the bits that we go, oh God, that's a bit fat. That's, oh God, and we program ourselves constantly. And especially as British people.
Yeah.
We kind of... We don't like that, you can do this, you can achieve that. We're very a negative, stiff upper lip type person. Yes. Americans, they're the opposite. They're told from the beginning, you're absolutely amazing.
And they'd see somebody passing in a Lamborghini, be like, yeah, brother, over here with that, brother, with a set of keys.
Exactly.
That kind of thing.
Because what we want is, because if we feel bad that we can't achieve it, we don't want someone else to achieve it, because if they can do it, then why haven't we done it?
Yeah.
So
it's like holding up a mirror to you in it and saying,
exactly.
And
that's what the world is. The world is a reflection of ourselves. What we see out there is who we are.
That's kind of deep, but it's true though, and we are each other and all that kind of thing.
What's the saying? I'm not who you think I am. I am who you think that I think you are.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep. That, you know? No, but this kind of thing fascinates me. Do you think, if there's any kind of advice without giving your act away and giving free stuff away, anybody who's in a kind of a negative mindset, do you think these affirmations work and things like that?
Affirmations kind of work to a point, but questions work better. If before you go to bed on a night time, instead of going, you're awesome, you're awesome, you're awesome, you can do this, you can achieve anything you want, you're awesome.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that little hypnotist that we were talking about go, no, you're not, no, you won't, you're not going to have a six-pack, you're not going to go to the gym, let's be honest. So all this goes on. If you ask a question instead and go, tomorrow, how can I have a more positive outlook? What can I do tomorrow to feel good? Your mind has to go on a search to find the answers for that.
Right.
Rather than going, you are awesome, and that thing going, no, you're not. Instead, you're kind of going, how can I give value tomorrow? What 3 things can I do to make other people feel good about themselves tomorrow? And then you're programming yourself in a more positive way. It gets past that little security guard that goes, this isn't going to happen. Yeah. One of the easiest ways to build rapport with somebody. I mean, you talked about the guys earlier about the whole dating thing, joking aside. Leans in.
Tell me more.
Yeah. Because you can say to somebody until you're blue in the face, me and you, we've got this in common. Me and you, we've got this in common. Me and you, we've got this in common. They're not gonna believe it, especially a female or someone you're trying to attract, because they know you're being thirsty and trying to sell to them or trying to attract them.
Yeah.
If you say to somebody, what 3 qualities in me do you admire the most? They've got to go find that answer then. What 3 things do you think we have in common? They have to go find that answer. And then because it's your idea, you believe that to be 100% true. If I tell you this is what we've got in common and this is what's amazing, you'll take that information and either go, yeah, that's ace, or discard it. If you come forward with that information, if you find the answers and go, this is what we have in common, these are the 3 things that we value that we both share, you'll believe that because that's your idea.
Yeah.
And that's a good way of...
There was somebody called, I can't remember his second name, and he wrote a book called The Game about dating. Have you ever Neil something. Neil Strauss. Neil Strauss. I never read it. But apparently, I remember somebody talking about it and saying, like, you go up to a woman and say, like... I don't like your shoes, but what is that technique called?
That's called negging.
Negging.
It's where if you approach a beautiful girl and you say something negative to her, it breaks her state. It's called a pattern interrupt. A lot of hypnotists that do 2 camps of hypnosis.
Okay.
Ericksonian.
Yeah.
Which is very permissive, which is what that community is about, and then direct, which is like the stage stuff. When you break someone's state, if we go to shake hands, that's an automatic thing. If in the middle of that handshake something different happens, your brain just explodes. It can't comprehend it. It's the same with the pickup community. If you say those yellow shoes weren't available last Tuesday, your brain's got to make sense of that. And so yes, and negging is a way of breaking that state. I'm not a fan of it.
No, do you think it's a bit like mind control-y kind of thing?
It's a lot of it is a bit forced and a bit creepy now.
Yeah.
Because what you get is, to deliver any of that, you've got to have a certain level of self-belief and confidence.
Yeah.
Now, whether it works because of the line, this 3-foot wall doesn't work in Venice or whatever the stupid line is, whether it works because of the line or because the person believes that that's going to work because he's been told by this mentor and in this book that that's what will get him more women.
Yeah. Confidence
and self-belief will work 10 times more than any stupid line.
But, do you know, like, I think Darren Brown did it once. If somebody's after kicking off with you and instead of adopting a karate stance or whatever, can you come out with like weird phrases what throw people's minds?
Yes, exactly.
And
complete pattern interrupt.
They don't. Is that what it's called? A pattern interrupt.
Yeah.
I think he said something about like most fences in front garden.
The wall outside my house is not 3 feet tall.
That's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one.
It can be anything
and
you want.
And it would just make them think, what the fuck's he on about?
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
And it takes you from that. emotional state of anger and wanting to fight. So you've got to make sense of what's going on.
You have to start
Exactly.
thinking, and like you go into that kind of primal state.
Exactly. And once they're in that state of trying to figure out what's going on, you are very suggestible at that moment. So then you can diffuse the situation. So rather than it being a fight, the person will be like, what? Oh, weirdo, and then off they'll go.
Without having all these techniques in your arsenal, do you have a great mastery of your own mind? Or are you just as susceptible as the average bloke at certain times?
I try and work on myself all the time to be better, but sometimes I find myself within that trap where you can start thinking negative things. As a performer who spent a lot of time on stage, having people at least 3 or 4 times a week going, "You're amazing."
Yeah.
That's a drug to me. Since COVID,
Yeah.
not being on stage, I found myself in a really dark place because I needed that. And it took me a while to figure out that's what that was. And I found myself, ridiculous it is, spending money to try and find that same high, if you know what I mean.
What's not talked about a lot is a lot of performers become adrenaline junkies.
Absolutely.
And there's also a performer who performs regularly can experience adrenaline poisoning. It's never talked about this because you're only meant to use adrenaline like in history. If a lion was chasing you, to fight off
or freeze. Yeah.
But and a lot of performers do get the adrenaline of going to a venue, seeing a packed crowd, like going backstage and going on stage, having a great gig, having a bad gig. It's all adrenaline, and you're driving home after and you're starving because the adrenaline's burned you all out. Kind of thing. But
I can't eat before a show, and exactly the same. You know, you sit there backstage, you look out and you're like, oh God, this is, I'd sooner do anything else. I'd sooner work at Tesco's. I'd sooner do this.
You do, don't you?
And you go through everything. You go out, they love you, they hate you, whichever it is, it doesn't matter. You come off stage, you get that crash. And I always say Monday is my kind of hangover day.
There isn't
where literally the crash is, it's horrific.
Like the day after good gigs, you do get a feeling of being like rough. Like,
absolutely.
And it's kind of weird, you know, but you're not having that adrenaline now. And there's a lot of performers now they'll be just sat at home twiddling their thumbs because that's what they do. And with all this that Rishi Sunak saying everybody's forget what you did, go and work in Tesco's.
Go work somewhere else. Yeah, you're not viable.
A performer can't work in Civvy Street the same as a normal person couldn't stand on a stage and perform. Yeah, you know,
it's a certain skill. So I always say to guys that I've kind of mentored that do what I do, and they kind of get to that stage where they're doing, you know, within a month they'll do a couple of gigs, and it's like you've got to watch your addictions because you crave that adrenaline, you crave that praise, you crave all that stuff going on, and that's why a lot of comedians, it's why a lot of performers turn to drink. Because you need to chase that high all the time.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm not a cokehead, but there's been occasions when I've been driving home and I'm thinking, you know what, I'd really like some cocaine now. I'm not a cokehead, you know. I have dabbled in it in the past, but the random thought with that, you know what I mean? You're thinking, yeah, I feel good. I want to get some, you know. And you can see how like these millionaire rock stars, you know, you just played in front of like 40,000 people. Yeah. You know, it's like I want to keep that high, and you go back to there's a couple. You go backstage and just a chair and a copy of Daily Mirror, and it's like it's a bit of a come down, isn't it, kind of thing.
When I came back from Vegas, no lie, the following weekend I was at the Tin Hat or the Tin Man in Barnsley, and I'm in the back changing room with a broken fruit machine and some broken bar stools, and I've looked out and there was 15 people in the audience, of which half of them were alcoholics, and I remember just sitting there thinking like, what?
It's such
straight back down to earth.
It's such a weird world entertainment. Yeah. I mean, I think most people I ever played in front of was I did a spot at the charity show at the Winter Gardens at Blackpool. Nice. in front of 300 people. Now that was the Monday. The Friday I was somewhere in Barnsley at a stag show with 6 lads in the audience and 2 strippers who were like Amazons. They were wrestling on floor, and it's like entertainment is quite a fucking weird thing.
The stag circuit is something we're going to lose in this country, and you know my show's corporate, but there's so much I've learned from being around that scene, the comebacks, the put downs, because you've got to you've got to be on your game, because if you're not, they will destroy you.
I fell on my sword more than one time because they've got a bunch of lads and they don't want us. They don't want the funnies. They want two girls to take their clothes off. So when I go on that with my jokes, and it's like you had to adopt like a more combative style and a more go off road comedically in the sense of like just start picking on people and just look at him and look at that fat fucker and whatever. Just all these kind of things. But you know, we're in a dangerous place now. In all entertainment seems like they don't want it anymore.
Comedy, in whichever form, is becoming sterile. It's becoming, let's not offend this, let's not offend that, and it's becoming so middle. And that's okay for Saturday night at 8 p.m. on television.
Yeah.
But like real comedy, like Bernard Manning was a funny guy in his day. He was funny. Now, don't get me wrong, that material doesn't work now.
No.
But that doesn't mean that material should be like completely forgotten about and just dismissed or cancelled.
No,
you know?
Comedy is a very dark art. You know, most of the people who practice it are pretty screwed up people, and you'll know that working with them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they're nothing like they are on stage. You probably work with comedians. You won't get a peep out of them. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they go on stage and they say, "Hi, you're all right." Yeah. But the nature of comedy is somewhere along the line is getting it in the neck.
Yeah.
And it's even if it's the own act talking about himself. I mean, I did a gig on a cruise ship. It was on a BBC documentary. And I was squeaky clean and I died on my arse in front of a room full of Scottish pensioners. And it was, is it called, what's the night when the captain comes, presentation night? Is that which is a really hard night as well because everybody's in tuxedos and bin men are in tuxedos, but they adopt the air of being something. And all I said was about Wigan, where I'm from, and somebody actually complained the day after that I was Wiganist. I live in Wigan with she wasn't from Wigan. I live in Wigan with my husband, and we were quite offended at what he was coming out with, and that's where we're at now. You know, it's.
I did a building in Sheffield, and they'd redone this building. It was stunning, and on the top floor of the penthouse, they'd put in a cabaret venue and restaurant, and it was the opening night. So it had all the solicitors and architects that were involved in the whole process, and they'd booked me for whatever reason. But where the stage was, like in the middle of it and kind of forward 3 foot, there was like a 6 foot wide square pillar all the way up. Now, who puts that in the front middle of a stage? So they're all like you said, dicky bow tied up. And I've gone out and I've gone, chat, having a bit of a laugh with them, and I've gone, you're the ladies and gentlemen that are responsible for this wonderful grand building. They're like, yes. Whose fucking bright idea was this then? I thought it had to be addressed.
Yeah.
And I thought someone would find that funny, but you've never seen a room just turn nothing. Not a volunteer.
I think the more money they have, the more they don't like to be offended. Yeah. I don't know if you found that, but the rougher the crowd was, the more it's like a societal thing where they're used to laugh fucking them, so they don't mind a comedian or an act ruining them. Yeah. But the toffs. Yeah. I did a gig in Ibiza, one, and I did 2 shows, right, and the comedian dropped out, and I said, "Do you want to go to Ibiza?" I goes, "Yeah, go on then." And the first show was a children's show kind of thing, and this is the irony of it. And I didn't do well, but I did all right. Now that it says, right, this is the adult show, you go for it. So I came out all guns blazing, coming out with everything, and I died on my ass. And it's like all these people with loads of money going, "Oh God, have you not finished yet?" You know what I mean? It's like, hang on a minute, you fucking. But it was a case of like, the sound tech said to me, he said, "I don't know why they book comedians every time. They bring a comedian every week, and he falls on his sword because they just want to sit there because they've got that much money." It's like,
we do live in a time now, though, again, especially British audiences, where heckling the comedy act is part of it.
Yeah.
You know, I did I mean, we don't go out to the troops anymore now, but I went out to Germany a couple of times, and I've gone out there. It's a big marquee, And just before I got on stage, the manager of the band has kind of gone, oh yeah, you know, they quite like booking comedians or comedy hypnotists because they want to see how long they can make them last before they'll walk off stage.
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell. And that was a tough gig. They were scrapping on the floor in front of me. It's like, why do that? But it ended up being a great gig, to be fair. But that first 15 minutes when you're trying to pull them round was just... But yeah, it's a very much a British thing, that heckling.
To a certain extent, your job is relatively like a stand-up comedians, and you have to get harder of the room kind of thing. Yeah,
I know in the first 10 minutes whether that's going to be a great show or not.
Yeah,
literally, you can go out and you go, good evening, blah blah blah, chat, just do this. You can tell straight away if you've got them and they're there. If you've not, you're fighting them all the way through.
People, they're all talking to each other and shouting and things like that. It's a waste of fucking time.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I suppose you have to go where you're paid, really, don't you?
Yeah.
And, But Grant, before, in the haze of hypnotic fervour, for want of a better explanation, I forgot to ask Grant some questions from the floor. So Grant, if you don't mind, can I ask you a couple of questions about from the first one's from Mr. Darren Lewis. Hello, Darren.
Hi, Darren.
I listen to Hypnosis all the time for sleep and pain management, but I never hear the end. For all I know, I could be getting unwanted suggestions. Is there a code of conduct you have to abide by as a hypnotist?
Most professional hypnotists are part of a governing body.
Yeah.
And it is about being ethical. I believe that if he was getting negative suggestions, part of his mind would go, something's wrong here, and bring him back from there.
Wake up.
Exactly. By the fact that he doesn't hear the end and it's for sleep is a good thing. And most importantly, Darren, if it's helping with the pain relief and helping you sleep, then that's a good thing.
When we're asleep, are we still processing? Are we still open to suggestion from?
You know that bit, and this is the best description of hypnosis. The bit when you're falling asleep.
Yeah.
You're not asleep. You're laid there. Your eyes are closed. Your body's relaxed.
And your mind starts wandering.
Yeah, and that's you. You're wandering a little bit. If the phone was to ring or someone was to knock at the door, you could bring yourself out and deal with it. You've not switched off.
Yeah.
You're just near the edge of that. That's where hypnosis lives. In that state, you are very suggestible. When somebody's hypnotised and when somebody's dreaming, you get REM, rapid eye movement. At that point, that person is very suggestible.
Right. So, but when they're stoned, when they're flat out asleep, it's dead. They can't take anything in.
If you're flat out asleep, and I'm giving you suggestions, odds are you wouldn't hear it.
Yeah, right, no problem. Thank you.
There's a lot of people that try it, especially with the audio programs that you listen to when you get to bed, and they go, "Oh, I don't know if I was hypnotising." It's like, well, if it worked, then that's fine. If you went to sleep, then that's fine too.
Yeah.
But you'll know whether it's.
But when you spark out, nothing's going in.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for that. Bordy, Mr. Gary Boardman. Hello, sir. Is it possible to hypnotise yourself? And if so, have you hypnotised yourself?
All the time. The level of hypnosis is different. Like self-hypnosis, you can only go so deep, if that's the right term. But I do it all the time. It's one of the nicest feelings in the world where you can just focus inside and let go of the stresses of the day.
Yeah.
When somebody hypnotises you, it can kind of force you down even deeper and deal with some deeper issues.
Okay.
But self-hypnosis is it's like meditation. Meditation is expanding of the mind. Self-hypnosis is just the focusing on one single idea.
What's your thoughts on the law of attraction and stuff like that? Do you think there is anything in it, where you manifest your own reality?
There's the law of attraction with action is brilliant. There's a lot of woo-woo out there where people go, do you know what? If you can dream it, you can be it. And it's like, I could dream all I want, but I'm not going to have a six-pack.
Colin says this, doesn't he?
Yeah, you've got to put action in as well.
So if you put your Rolls Royce picture on the wall and just sit there eating crisps, there's a likelihood it's not going to roll up on the drive.
It's going to have a negative effect, because that Rolls Royce picture is then going to make you realise you've not got the Rolls Royce. Yeah. But having that as something to work towards, and then there's a thing called future progression with hypnosis, where you hypnotise someone, and rather than going into a past life, you go forward 10 years, and you go, right, you've had your best 10 years of your life. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What can you see? What can you feel? And you fill in all the details, and then you work backwards. So that person then has a goal. You know, they can visualise it. They can almost touch it. It's that clear. That makes it a lot easier.
That's similar to the perfect day scenario, where a psychologist or something would ask you to, like, explain outline your perfect day, what it would be from start to finish. Yeah. Does that have a place in psychological mechanics?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the more positive reinforcement we can give ourselves, and not just the day-to-day, because the problem is if you're doing it today, what's my perfect day today or tomorrow, that's one thing. But like 10 years from now, where do you want to be then? And if you can ask yourself, you know, the you that's in 10 years, the you that's had the best 10 years, that's the person you want to get advice from. Right. Not you today, because you today has got council tax to stress about and this to stress about.
I don't pay that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got those day-to-day things. You want to ask the advice of the you from 10 years from now.
It's very fascinating. It's everything that emanates from your mind, doesn't it? You know
Absolutely.
What I mean?
It's got to start as a thought before it can become an action.
There's I don't know what you call him. I think there's a scientist called Rupert Sheldrake, and he said the mind is very much like a mobile phone, in the sense of you put a mobile phone on a table, but the energy it emits is worldwide, and the mind is very similar. I don't think we actually realise the power of our thoughts.
Absolutely.
And which, you know, we are, like I said, capable of everything, but it's how we think, but we don't know the magnitude of what we're thinking and what we're saying, especially to ourselves.
And how those thoughts and the energy that those thoughts create, how that can influence a room. You know, without physically touching that person, you can influence that person with that energy.
Yeah.
You know, when you walk into a room when a couple of people have been arguing, you can sense it.
Cut it with a knife, as they say.
Exactly. So imagine that same thing when you fill a room with positive energy.
Yeah.
You know, but that has no boundaries. You know, that can travel the world.
Yeah. It's really fascinating. Yeah. Renegade Sound asks, hello Renegade Sound. I think he's a gangster or rapper. Or something. No, it sounds like
I hope he's not a social worker.
Yo. Grant, have you ever used it for money? He's obviously a gangster. Grant, have you ever used it for monetary gain, or know of a colleague in the profession that has?
Yeah.
Monetary gain in the sense of doing gigs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not like you will now in the post office fill this bag.
A friend of mine, I always said, if hypnosis never worked out for me, I was going to be a faith healer. Use the same thing as hypnosis, but just get people to send me money.
Well, I'm just thinking of starting a cult after this. When this goes, tits up, you know what I mean?
I could be the new Reverend Jim Jones.
You could do, really.
Drink the colour. Do you know what? It's hypnosis. When you put that label on it, I love it when people don't know I'm a hypnotist, because you can influence them more. When people go, what do you do? I go, I'm a hypnotist. They go, all right, and they're just on guard then. When they don't know that, like if you're buying something from a car showroom, from a shop, or negotiating with people, and everything in life is a negotiation.
Is it Jim Voss? What's he called? Chris Voss.
Chris Voss.
He is the CIA negotiator.
FBI negotiator.
Oh, that was it. Yeah. He said that everything in life.
It's
when you go into a shop and buy a cup of coffee, that's a negotiation.
Exactly. Even when it comes to when you're sat at home with your wife and it's about who's going to wash the pots, who's going to do whatever, it's a negotiation.
Well, that is negotiating with terrorists, isn't it? You know?
yeah, very much so. So I've used it for monetary value. I consider I passed my driving test through the power of hypnosis.
Yeah.
You know, because I did a shit job. I shouldn't have passed my driving test. However, using suggestion, I believed I passed it, and I've used it in other circumstances to get my own way.
Can I just tell you a story that I passed mine by manipulation? You know, a Machiavellian, more Machiavellian than you. Because I think I hit the curb a couple of times. But I pulled into the test centre and I looked really sad, like that. And then he goes, Mr. O'Neill, I'm pleased to tell you you've passed your test, but keep practising. So I must have fell into the category of let these pass now, we've let everybody else fail.
Exactly.
But that's a good answer to your question, sir. The final question is from Mr. Rubber Dub, who is one of the supporters of the channel and makes sure that I can eat on a regular basis. Is it possible to resist hypnosis, or have you got to be of a certain mindset to overcome it? And could you program someone and change their complete life permanently with a different persona? That's an interest. Could you actually make someone have a different persona from their original one?
To change somebody's persona would take a lot of work because there's so many elements that make that up. You can change certain aspects of somebody's life. A good way to think of that is as a child, somebody has an incident with a spider. That's the suggestion. That spider falls on them, they scream, the parents scream, whatever happens, that one suggestion imprints with them for the rest of their life. That suggestion stays there. You can change that, like phobias is the easiest thing to change with hypnosis. So in that sense, yes, you can change that part of their persona, the part of them that was scared of public speaking, the part of them that was scared of this, or you can change bits of it. But all the elements, it will come up against lots of resistance. Every day we fall into patterns. So every day that pattern would be challenged again. Yeah. Like a smoker believes they're a smoker. Yeah. You make somebody quit smoking, the following day they'll wake up, they'll put the kettle on, and that would be a time when they used to smoke. That's a challenge against that element of them. So in that sense, it would be a massive challenge to change somebody's whole persona.
Have you ever read a book called The Dice Man? Have you heard of the book? It's a weird book where a bloke had a dice and he lived his life by the dice, and like say, he'd say I have 6 personalities on a piece of paper, and he didn't believe it. I'm seeing one from what I can remember in the book, and one was like a builder, one could be like I don't know, gender fluid lollipop man, whatever. They could be. You could have all these different personas on, and he'd throw the dice, and whatever came up, he delivers that for the day, and he lived his life by the throw of the dice. There was no, but I don't think it's nice in a book, but I think your personality has to have a foundation like anything else.
Your true personality, yes. Oh, the hypnotherapist will hate me for this. A lot of therapy can be a catalyst, a placebo. For example, let's say you're agoraphobic, you can't leave your house for whatever reason. That has certain gains from it, and you build your life and your personality around that.
Okay.
It would be very difficult after 15 years of everyone's going to hate me for saying this, especially if they've got agoraphobia.
Yeah.
But after 15 years of being agoraphobic and your whole social group and everyone around you that deals with that, for you to suddenly go, I don't think I'm agoraphobic anymore, I'd like to go out and be in the sunshine.
Yeah.
It's difficult to do that.
Yeah.
So sometimes it helps to go see a therapist who can go, wah, and you go, oh, it's a miracle. I can go out now. And it gives people a chance to be that other person. When someone's on stage, it gives an insecure, shy person the excuse to try on a different personality.
Yeah.
So I think we've all got different personalities. This personality is one thing.
Yeah.
When I go home, that's a different personality. If I get pulled by the police on the way home, that's going to be a completely different personality.
I've often thought, and have you come out with this one as well, Colin, that nobody really knows us because you're only truly yourself when you're alone.
Absolutely.
You've no mask on at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, you wear various masks during the day to the lollipop man, to the shopkeeper.
Absolutely.
I mean, or different people, but you're only yourself. And what a personality that is. You don't want to see that, is it? It's me walking around my house swearing at 4 o'clock in the morning, screaming, you know. Yeah. Just be glad you can't see that, but thank you very much. I'm sorry, this is a second ending. I don't know how Colin's going to edit this, but it's very good.
Put this back to you two.
Oh, so what would? So do I have to speak now? Oh, yeah. All right. Can I point to this? I think that.
Back over.
All right. Have you? Right. There might be a commercial break here. If not, but Yeah, well, I think we're having a commercial break, so would you like a chocolate biscuit?
Oh, I'd love a chocolate biscuit. There we go.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
But Grant, I've really enjoyed you coming down.
It's been good fun.
You can take all these chocolate biscuits back home with you to your wife. Hello, Milling. Thank you very much for coming down. Have you any? You do your own chat show, don't you?
I have a stream on Facebook. Yeah,
we'll put a link to that underneath here. And have you got your own website? Yeah,
grantsaunders.co.uk.
Thank you very much for coming down, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for making me do all that too. I feel like but I'm going to have some therapy off you. I think I need it. But thank you very much, and we'll speak to you soon. Oh, if you want to donate to the channel, you can do, so I can buy some new underpants.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the channel, like it, and share the other podcasts, and stay safe out there, and stay away from negative thoughts and Ouija boards from the pound shop. Thanks.
Yeah. Shall I hypnotise them into donating?
Do it.
Yeah, donate.
Bye.